What's fueling this comeback?
Well, a lot of it is companies that went after these huge targets last year that didn't work out. So you had Pfizer going after AstraZeneca, that didn't happen. AbbVie going after Shire, that didn't happen. Valeant going after Allergan. And now all three of those companies have done deals so far this quarter. But they are, like you said, smaller. But on the other hand, that means they've got a lot of fuel left in the tank.
Right, they all have dry powder left over that they didn't use last year. Why are they thinking smaller? Just easier to get the deals done?
Well, I think, and they're still looking for growth, so these are good targets, and they're still pretty big. I mean, Hospira was $17 billion for Pfizer, Pharmaceutical was $21 billion for AbbVie, so they're nothing to sneeze at. They're just not that $100 billion deal that AstraZeneca would have been.
What are people buying? I mean, does it matter? Do they just want to buy something? Is this a case of executives that have too much money and...
No, I think it's a case of some of these older legacy pharma companies just have these drugs that aren't growing quite as much as they used to, and they're about to lose their patent protection, so they need to refill the pipeline. And so the companies that they're buying have faster growing products that will do that for them.
How do investors feel about this? I mean, a lot of times when you see a big purchase, the buyer's stock goes down. Obviously, the takeover rises to the premium. How are investors dealing with this round of takeovers?
For most of these, the acquirer's stock is rising because they are just so accretive, and part of that is because interest rates are still very low, and it's easy to make these deals work. But, you know, for the most part, they like them.
So is it going to continue? I mean, can we expect another banner year in M&A this year?
It should. I mean, it's showing no signs of slowing down now. And like I said, a lot of these companies still have a lot of cash because they are doing these smaller targets. And some of the big targets from last year are still out there. Like Shire could be very interesting to somebody.
And in a different tax zone, right? I mean, are we still seeing these deals where American companies just want to get out of paying this insanely high corporate tax rate?
Not as much, because with the changes in the regulation, it's much harder to do that. But what you are seeing is companies that do have those lower tax jurisdictions being very aggressive acquirers because they can make these deals much more accretive than somebody who is an American company.
One of the things I wonder about is the strong dollar, right? I mean, it has to give U.S. companies more ammunition.
It absolutely does. And Europe, you know, is ripe with bargains. And so if you are looking for something and trying to find it on the cheaper side, that might be a place to look, especially as, you know, valuations are rising for some of these U.S. deals that we're seeing.
Any tips for us? What's coming up in the M&A pipeline?
I mentioned Shire. The other one people are looking for is Teva. You know, they did a smaller deal, yes, but people are really looking for it to maybe do something big. You know, maybe Mylan or even Endo, which would be a huge deal for the company.